It's not scary. LA is a city and you have to keep your head on a swivel wherever you are. I've been called racial epithets in Beverly Hills. I have been followed on the west side. I have, had people look at me very nefariously in quote unquote affluent areas.
Right.
Over here, I've walked, sometimes I've done my night walks, 8 o'clock at night when it's dark. The biggest thing I'm afraid of is a raccoon, but it's still a city. So you still have to keep your head on a swivel because, anything can happen to you anywhere.
That's right.
So, don't be silly with it. Don't just think like, oh, that's a bad neighborhood. It's a city. You have to be careful everywhere.
Hello and welcome to Here in LA, Baldwin Hills edition. Today we talk with Roxanne, a native Angelina who has worked on Skid Row helping at-risk women for years. Afterwards, she comes home to her beautiful apartment in the Baldwin Hills area known as Baldwin Village, which the locals refer to as the Jungles or the Jays. Our pals over at the LA Times do not recognize Baldwin Village or the Jungles, so until that changes, we'll just call it Baldwin Hills. Fine, whatever. Roxanne and I hung out on a calm, cool night and talked about if it's safe for a young woman like herself to walk around at night in the jungles, what's it like helping the good people of Skid Row, and what her life was like growing up around LA with a single mom who was raising 4 kids. Roxanne also made me a snack platter and afterwards sent me home with a doggy bag, which I'm enjoying right now. So, let's give Roxanne the mic so she can dispel some myths about life in the Jays and working on Skid Row. Hey everybody, I am in Baldwin Hills with Roxanne. How funny, I'm funny. I'm a funny person.
Okay.
We were just chatting normally like la la la, and then all of a sudden I was like, hey everybody.
Hey you guys.
Like it's a kid's show.
I know.
It kind of is a kid's show.
Hello.
This is Show and Tell,
Yes.
Baldwin Hills edition.
Yes.
Also known as...
So I'm technically Baldwin Village, a.k.a. the Jungles, a.k.a. the Jays.
So, okay. I think most people in LA who aren't black don't know where the jungles are.
No.
Is that good or bad?
That's a good question. I think, well, now people know because we're adjacent to a lot of the growth that's happened in Culver City. Mm-hmm. So because Culver City's housing options are so limited, people have been coming this way for housing options. So yeah, the demographics over here have changed quite a bit. And then there's been a lot of change in the demographics this way.
Also, Lemert's growing.
Lemert is changing. Yes, it's changing.
When you say changing, do you mean gentrifying?
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, there's some positives and some drawbacks, but I've been here since I think 2005.
Oh wow.
Yes,
almost 20 years.
I don't like to move very much.
Who does?
There are lots of people that like to move a lot.
Crazy people. Totally crazy people.
I was going to say something, but we are not supposed to say that word anymore.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, let's continue with the jungles.
Yes.
I think most people, if they do know of it, they probably know it from Training Day.
They know it from Training Day. So there are 2 streets that are right off of King, and sort of like locally they're called Training Day. So there's Palmwood and Palmyra. And so I used to have to go over there for a work site. And every time I go over there, I'd be like, oh, I got to go to Training Day today. But it's so different because I remember when I first moved over here, someone said, oh, you don't live in the Jays. You're jungle adjacent. I was like, oh, I get a pass because the jungles really came up in like the 70s. And so a lot of young Black professionals started moving over here because the apartments were very big and the rent was low. There's a lot of foliage in the area. So if you drive around here, you see all this big foliage. And so that's how it was known as the jungles. And back in the 70s, there were all these big parties and people would like literally apartment hop for the parties. And so as those professionals got older, they bought homes up the hill, which is Baldwin Hills. And then other folks started moving in here. My neighbor downstairs, she's been here probably close to, I would say like 30, 40 years. I think her rent is probably like $10. Like,
Because this is rent control, right?
this is rent control. Thank God. Thank God. Thank
yes.
God. Thank God. I will not
Yes.
tell you how much my rent is,
You don't have to.
but I will show you my apartment. And if just from what you can see, yeah,
I've got rent control too. It's a lifesaver.
it is literally a lifesaver.
But also, it allows me, I don't know about you, but allows me to do the job I want to do, as opposed to having to sell out and do things I don't want to do in order to, meet that note.
Definitely. I would say it has allowed me not to have had roommates.
Right.
I've never had to have roommates.
Is this a 2-bedroom?
This is a 1-bedroom. Across the hall is a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
The last people that owned it went into some of the units and they split the units. So they made the dining rooms into bedrooms.
Right.
So some of us old timers, so there's about 4 or 5 of us on this L that are old timers that have been here. I'm the youngest of the old timers, but the rest of them, they've been here for over 20 years. Wow. So we still have our dining rooms and our original amenities. The other ones were sort of upgraded and the bedrooms were added by adding on to or changing the dining rooms.
One of the reasons that the Jungles was in Training Day was they needed a neighborhood that was dangerous for Denzel to go into. And I think those are the 2 streets that you're talking about, because those are cul-de-sac streets.
One of them is a cul-de-sac. One of them goes through.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
All right. See, I'm learning something here.
Yes.
And the reason that the cul-de-sac street was important is it traps you.
Yes.
And if there's bad people there waiting for you like they were in the movie,
Yes.
you're kind of screwed.
Yes.
You've got to fight your way out.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I would think that the notoriety of the Jays and in relationship to that movie would make people think, oh, you live there? You must be tough. You must be street smart. You must be black. You must be all these things, right?
I think in the general consensus that has been the case, but it definitely has changed. I would say it has changed.
What's it like now?
Oh, well, now you see more. So there's a lot more animals here. There are a lot. When I moved here in the beginning, you did not see people walking dogs as much. And it's not just white people. It's black people too. I have a few Indian neighbors on the street, Hispanic people. They walk their dogs a lot. So you see that a lot more.
So back in the day, people didn't have pets?
Not like they do today. There were no pets in this building when I moved in. Now everybody's got a pet but
Wow.
me. I've got plants thanks to
Yes, you do.
thanks to Mama Wetzel.
Yes, you do. Okay, so would you say that things have gotten better for we'll call this Baldwin Village?
I would say it's hard to say that things are better because it's in such a state of flux. So when I first moved over here, it was great for me as a young person because everything was in walking distance. So say something happened to my car, I could literally walk to any number of grocery stores. I could walk to the mall. I would say probably in some cases things have not gotten better because the mall is dying. Parts of Crenshaw is dying. So it has made accessing certain things more difficult. Whereas when I first moved over here, it was a lot easier. But I mean, one of the things that's great about this area is that like, I love that I'm surrounded by parks. Like I have Jim Gilliam right there. I've got Rancho. I've got Kenneth Hahn over there. Like, so there's literally, like, I can walk to a park within a block of my house. I can walk across La Brea and be in the hills and have great vistas of the West Side and downtown LA.
In fact, all the pictures we saw of downtown with the snow-capped mountains behind it were probably shot up in Kenneth Hahn.
A lot of them were. A lot of folks, someone had posted that they were up at Kenneth Hahn really, really early, which I think is great, but don't just stop at Kenneth Hahn. Like, I wish people would have come here for things like Hotville Chicken, which she just closed because of some issues that are going on over at the property at the mall. So, like I said, we're in flux. So there are some positives, some negatives. Like, I really can't say it's gotten worse or gotten so much better. We're in a state of flux.
Let's talk about that mall real quick. Talk about flux. That mall has gone through a lot over the decades.
It has.
And I think one of the most major things that it went through was it had a Walmart for a little while.
Yes, it did.
And then it went away.
Yes.
Why did it go away?
So people were saying that the Walmart went away because of theft. There were like rampant thefts. That's what I heard. I don't shop at Wally World. I'm a Target girl.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Target girl.
But it's right there.
It is right there, but
did they have groceries there when it was there?
They had everything. People would come from USC. They'd come from USC to go to that Walmart because that was honestly that Walmart predated the Compton Walmart. And so that Walmart was actually the only Walmart between like here and anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was always busy. It was always busy. But I don't know what other financial reasons. I don't think it was like this whole idea of rampant theft that closed it. Honestly, like I'd only gone in there a handful of times. But, it was convenient for a lot of the old people in the neighborhood. There is, right there across the street from Macy's, there's a senior complex.
Oh.
Right. And so my great aunt used to live in that complex. I remember going over there when I was a little kid. And so thinking about all of the people in the community, that was a really great thing for them. And so some of the, like going back to talking about the changes, like I do think about the older people in the community and the changes that are happening, that are not good for them. Like with Bank of America closing, and limiting their hours, a lot of these people, they still get a paper check and they take it to the bank to cash it. And so they're very limited on being able to go do that. And there are really not a lot of options for them to go, in a close proximate area, but at the same time, I see that they've opened up, there's like a circuit, like a mobile, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a mobile circuit vehicle. So, but I don't know how well it is being advertised to, certain pockets of the community.
A little free bus.
Little free bus. Yeah. So I think you have to like reserve it every so often,
Do we think that mall will be renovated, that investors will see an opportunity there?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So just a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. I mean, I used to, like I said, I could go in my neighborhood in walking distance for anything. The mall was right there. I could go pay bills. I could go get whatever I needed right there. Now you go and it's a ghost town. The vendors that were in the middle, they're not there anymore. There used to be a trans woman who would sell makeup. My mother used to love her. Miss Ebony, I think her name was. She used to do really good eyebrows. A buddy of mine, Ink, he used to have a kiosk upstairs where he would do airbrushing. So it was really a hub.
You had that crazy buffet up there.
Yeah, I didn't mess with that buffet. No, sir.
Too many options.
Too many germs. Too many germs. No, sir. No.
Well, you also have the Magic Johnson Theater right there.
We had the theater. Well, we have the theater. Love the theater.
It's a Cinemark now.
It is a Cinemark now.
You don't go in there?
I do.
Okay.
I do go to the theater. I have not been to the theater since COVID. I'm not as
smart,
big on that right now. But I miss the theater. I miss cinema.
I go every week and I wear a mask.
I need to do it.
I saw Creed 3 the other day.
Was it good?
Yeah. It's great to have a Black Rocky, right?
I like the first one, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to support it.
What I'm sad about on Crenshaw and King is I used to go to M&M's all the time.
Yes.
But I imagine you have other soul food options nearby.
So there are other options. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit of a snob because my family is from the great state of Louisiana.
Ooh.
And so I cook.
Uh-huh.
So as you can see, I made you a snack.
You made me the most delicious. People do offer things, and usually I say no thanks because I need to be prepared for all this.
Yes.
I usually fuel up before. But just like a Southern gentlewoman, there's a big bowl here with orange slices, chocolate. There's Triscuits, cheese, salami. Your mama raised you right.
She did. She did.
Where in Louisiana are you from?
So I'm from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But my grandparents on both sides are both from Louisiana. So on my father's side, my folks up there are from Shreveport area, Ringgold, around there.
Yeah.
And then on my mother's side, my grandfather's from a little town called Zachary.
Okay.
And my grandmother was from New Orleans.
Right on.
Yes.
So you better know how to cook.
So I know I cook. So I don't really do soul food out a lot. I mean, it just depends on what it is that I want. So we were talking about Doolin's earlier.
Yeah.
So I like Doolin's for their baked turkey. They have good baked turkey, but everything else to me it's too heavy. It's too overdone.
Yeah. None of the sides?
Not anymore. Can't do it.
You don't mind cooking greens in this apartment?
Baby, greens don't. No, who told you? Wait, what?
Some people say it smells up your apartment. You know that.
Yeah, but not like that. My greens. My mother grows greens. My mother grows collards. So like they don't come off like that.
Right.
Yeah, they don't.
What about fish? You don't mind frying fish in here, or you don't fry fish?
I do not like frying in my apartment.
Right.
So I did some like little frying today because I'm doing taquitos.
Oh.
Yes.
Fish taquitos?
No, chicken. But generally, no, I do not like frying.
So what do you go to you buy We Fry place then and let them fry it?
Yes, and that is the bane of one of the big changes that has happened in my neighborhood is that like options for that have dwindled. So there is a place that is more on the West Jefferson side of my neighborhood. I don't like them anymore because the people that work there, they act like they're very rude. They're very rude. I do not go there anymore.
Are these black folk?
No. But Mel's has good service. Mel's for fried fish. Go to Mel's.
Okay.
Yes, he has good fish. And then a little secret, like Ralph's.
I heard that.
Ralph's has good fried fish.
I heard that they will fry the fish for you.
I'm telling you, when the catfish nuggets are on sale, I'm telling you, get a bag of like 2 pounds and you'll be fine.
Let them do all that.
Let them do that part.
Okay, well, you heard. I don't know how many of our listeners are going to take advantage of this, but they should. Because it's great. Let them deal with the oil, the old oil,
all
the
of
smell, the smoke.
Yes.
The smoke alarms that go off.
Yes. I had a fish fry here. I had about 30 some odd people in my apartment a couple of years ago. Well, prior to the pandemic. Because I wanted to have a fish fry and invite all my friends and family. So we actually set up out back. I have a cousin who lives in Watts, and he is like one of the best fryers in the family. Really? And so he brought his propane fryer. Yes. And my ex's aunt, she actually goes fishing here in California, like right out.
Like Venice Pier, Redondo Pier, something like that?
I don't even know where she leaves from. I don't know where, but she is always going fishing and like bringing back all this fish.
Oh, great.
And so it was great. So we had I bought fish. I had like trout and catfish from Costco, but then we had fresh local fish that she had, donated to the cause. It was great.
Fantastic. Okay. Any last words about the jungles for people who...
It's not scary.
It's not. You feel safe here.
I am safe here.
How about that?
I am safe here. I mean, this is the thing about LA. LA is a city, and you have to keep your head on a swivel wherever you are.
True.
I've been called racial epithets in Beverly Hills. I have been followed on the West Side. I have, had people look at me very nefariously in quote unquote affluent areas.
Right.
Over here, I've walked, sometimes I've done my night walks, 8 o'clock at night when it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing I'm afraid of is a raccoon, but it's still a city. So you still have to keep your head on a swivel because, anything can happen to you anywhere.
That's right.
So, don't be silly with it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just think like, oh, that's a bad neighborhood. It's a city. So
right.
You have to be careful everywhere.
I'm so glad that you're saying all this. This is great. So people, if you are on my favorite street, Obama, and what is that, La Cienega that goes up the hill?
Uh-huh.
And you want to see where the jungles are, just come on in.
Come on through.
It's going to be fine.
Come on through. I mean, it's in and out. I mean, you come down from Santa Rosalia and you look to the left, look to the right, and then you're out of it.
Right.
But the parks are great.
Yes.
Come to the mall, come to the movie theater.
And there's plenty of parking over here.
There's really not.
People in Koreatown
Oh yeah, well
park miles away and get an Uber. You don't have to do that here.
No, it can get a little bit thick the later it gets as people are getting off work.
I got lucky.
You could have been more lucky. You could have been a little bit more lucky. I think if we would have had you come just a tad earlier.
It's fine. You know what? I'm glad I came at night, though, because this is one thing I learned from Uber, is we have these ideas in our head about what certain neighborhoods are, and we go there in the day, or we go in there in the morning, and we're like, oh, it's not so bad. Fine, then, go at night. See what it really is like at night, in your scariest nightmares, and it was fine.
It is fine.
And there's nice cars out here. There's old cars, new cars, all kinds of cars.
This is a working class neighborhood. People go to work.
Yeah.
Like 9 o'clock, the streets, are, kind of empty. There's a lot of older people that live over here, so they're home. And you have people that work swing shifts and things like that. But I've been here long enough to see my neighbors. I know who certain folks are. And that's a good feeling when you know who lives in your neighborhood.
When people light off fireworks,
okay,
do people think it's gunshots?
That's a good question. No, well,
because I do in Hollywood.
No,
first thing I think, whoops.
No, it just. Well, I grew up here in LA. I moved around a lot, hence why I don't like to move around very much now. But I grew up close to the east side, so off of 43rd and Main, Vernon, Main area. And we literally lived one house down from what I didn't know until I was an adult was like one of the biggest dope houses on the West Coast called Money Village. It was an apartment complex where I guess they moved a lot of cocaine back in the 80s. And I remember hearing gunshots as a kid, so I think I can tell, like, because you grow up hearing enough of it. Right. So I can usually tell, like, okay, what's what. So no, not really. I mean, if it's a pop, 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 then I go. But usually they're doing the big booms now. Right. The M80s and those like that.
Yeah. Because in my neighborhood, they'll light them off for almost anything.
Yes.
Is that how it is here too?
Yes.
Like even if the Dodgers win just a big game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're celebrating. Yeah. Like, you just got to go with it.
It's an LA thing.
It's an LA thing.
Okay. So after 43rd and Main, what neighborhood would you say that is? Is that historic South Central?
That's historic South Central. Yeah. That's what that's called.
Okay, so after that, where'd you move?
Oh, shit. Excuse my language. We moved we were on. So before that, we were actually on Pickford off of La Cienega.
Uh-huh.
And before that, we were in West Hollywood, just off of Sunset. So there. Then we went to 42nd off of Figueroa. Then from
Hold on a second. I do Uber. Figueroa has changed. Have you been to 42nd and Fig recently?
I mean, just on the way home.
There's hookers out there.
Baby, there's always been hookers out there.
What? In the daytime?
Oh, yes, that's the host row. What do you mean?
It hasn't changed then, I guess. I have changed. I guess I never was over there.
Fig has always been the host row.
Always.
Yes, I say that with love. I mean,
It is.
I say it with love. You know, I support sex workers
Right.
for various reasons.
They're doing their thing.
But yeah, no, it's live.
Has
But in the
always
60s, like not in the years of the 60s, but like going towards like the
60th
60s.
Street. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's live, day and night.
It blew my mind because I'm just I'm not their customer, and so it was shocking to me in the cold early morning.
Oh yeah,
They're out there in little bikinis and all that lingerie and all that,
Yeah.
and just shivering.
yes,
And it broke my heart because I was
Yes.
like, this is a hard enough job as it is, I'm sure,
yes,
and dangerous and all that.
yes.
And now you're cold too.
Yeah, it's
So it's always been like that.
been like that for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where do you work now?
So I work for a healthcare nonprofit in Skid Row.
How about that?
Yes.
What do you do?
So I run a women's health education program that assists women with making healthy choices to reduce the risk to STIs and HIV.
God bless you.
I hope so. Hello, Lord, help me.
He sees you. He sees you loud and clear.
I hope so.
Are you a religious woman?
I'm more spiritual than religious.
You don't go to church every Sunday?
I don't.
There's this on Obama, right by that 7-Eleven, there's a Benai church. You been there?
A Benai church?
Yeah.
Benai Brith?
Yeah.
No.
It's right there.
Didn't know. South LA, we've got more churches per capita than anything. I remember I met a guy. I was at the Underground Museum, which is, please, Lord, bring them back. I love them. I met a guy from Europe. He was a black guy from Europe, and he was visiting, and he was asking, he said, why do you have so many churches here? I said, I don't know. We're very religious. He was like, on like every corner, you have a church. And I'm like, yeah, we do. Like going down Vermont, going down Fig. Yeah, we got a lot of churches.
In storefronts, there's Mexican churches.
Yes.
There was a special on Nat Geo 4 or 5 years ago. It said LA has more religions practiced here than any other city in the world.
Really?
Yes.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can
well,
see
we
that.
have every culture here,
Yes.
and most cultures say something to somebody.
Yes. No, I think that's really cool about LA. Most of my family are Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh.
Yes.
Is that why you like Prince?
No. Prince is awesome and he's amazing and he's talented and just.
Was he a Jehovah or a Seventh Day?
No, he was a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
Yes.
Did you have to knock on doors as a little girl?
So that happens when you are a baptized Jehovah's Witness.
Okay.
And so I was not baptized as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not baptized. My mother is now baptized. I have aunts who are baptized. My grandmother was baptized.
All of them were knocking on doors, are knocking on doors.
Well, they have actually a letter writing campaign. So if you get a letter from a witness, that is their campaign at the moment. But yeah.
A little safer probably.
Well, because of COVID.
Right.
So they're very, very careful about exposing themselves to COVID. And there's a lot of older people in the congregations.
Okay, let's get back to this HIV thing. Because
Okay.
that scared me when you said that. I
Okay.
thought we were over HIV.
Baby, we're not over HIV. We're not over herpes. Herpes was trending on Twitter yesterday, and people don't know why. There's more misinformation today. With the plethora of information that is available, people do not utilize it. So there is a lot of misinformation around HIV. There's a lot of stigma. There was a big thing on one pocket of Twitter about last week, a very stigmatizing conversation that was going on. And so there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of disinformation that still happens. So no, we're not over HIV. People are still doing very risky things. They think they know, they don't know. We do have PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis. We have, injectable PrEP. We have pills for PrEP. So we're very close to, hopefully getting to zero, but we are still in the thick of things, especially in men who have sex with men. Young African American men who have sex with men, our rates are still high there.
Why? Why us?
There's a lot of socioeconomic, or what we call the there's a phrase for it, and it's escaping my mind. But there are a lot of other factors. So there's socioeconomic factors.
Meaning young black males aren't as educated or don't have access to education?
It's not about education per se. It's about what I've found out about doing this work, especially doing individual sessions with people, with women, because that's who I work with. It's not about sex. It's about all these other things. It's about mental health. It's about money. It's about mental health and depression and loneliness and self-esteem. And those are the factors that cause individuals to engage in certain behaviors. So if my self-esteem is low, if socioeconomically, I'm always, the last in line to get half a dollar, and my only outlet is, maybe getting a little loaded and just letting it be free for a minute. That's what I'm going to do because that's what makes me feel good. But unfortunately, because that's my outlet, that can put me at risk for HIV or other sexually transmitted infections.
What I hear when you say this, because I'm a basic bitch of a man.
Okay.
If you are poor and you have limited options, and the man who might pull you out of this poverty wants to have unsafe sex, you will say yes.
Keep coming with it.
Is that what you're saying?
Keep coming with that.
And therefore, and you will continue, and you'll
so
do it when you don't want to do it.
And that goes across gender, and that goes across race and ethnicity. But unfortunately, it hits certain genders and ethnicities at a higher rate. So yes, whether it's this person that's going to pull me up out of this socioeconomic situation, it could be just this person is showing me love and care and concern, and they gave me a place to sleep, or they gave me compliments, and I always feel like I'm not good enough. So yeah, if they want to do something that I'm not really okay with,
So in your work, do you coach them on that stuff too?
So what we do is we do a lot of individual level interventions, and then we have a curriculum that is based on what's called the trans theoretical model of change, or the stages of change.
Sounds very official.
It's basically 5 stages of thinking that help a person kind of figure out where they are and where they want to be in terms of behavior change.
Did you study this stuff in school?
I studied English. Yes.
Same.
Death of the English major.
Well, but it's good to read Shakespeare and Tolstoy and learn how to read and write.
Yes.
Never hurts.
I'm an Ozymandias girl.
Oh, really?
Yes. I as you can see, I love books.
Yes. I see books everywhere here. I see books and pictures. I see prints on a turntable. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a
lot
maker.
of original art up here.
Yeah, so my mother, she created that piece.
Here in the middle?
That piece in the middle. My mother created that.
It's like a silhouette of a woman wearing a traditional African, very colorful dress and headdress.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
It was in an art competition that she was in. I can't recall if she placed or not. That's Venice Beach.
Sure is.
And that's where we went a lot as kids.
On a very windy day.
On a windy day. back when the downtown art walk was really in its kind of height. I bought that from a vendor there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because when we did our Venice episodes, Sonny Bach is the president of the Venice Art Crawl.
Okay.
It's either the Art Crawl or the Art Walk. I hate myself that I don't know the difference between the two. But anyway, she would love the fact that you went down there and bought original art.
I mean, it's a part of my heart, you know.
Because as a child, you'd go down to Venice all the time?
Yeah, that's, you know, when you're a single mom with 4 kids, you don't have a lot of options for doing stuff where it's going to take a lot of money. And
right.
So we'd go down, my mom would buy a calzone or a pizza, and we'd sit on the lifeguard stations and watch the water or watch the people, you know, skateboard or skate, and watch the man with the white on with his guitar. And that was what we did a lot.
Did you ever jump into the water?
Yeah, we jumped in the water. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, we did.
It's too damn cold.
Yeah. Yeah, Pacific Ocean is pretty cold. It is. Having gone out east, you're like, why is my water so cold?
Okay, so let's dispel some myths about Skid Row.
Okay.
How long have you been working down there?
20 years.
You're going straight to heaven.
20
Are you
years.
kidding? No wonder you don't go to church. You don't have to.
I want one of those Vietnam veteran hats, but I wanted to say Skid Row vet. Yes, I'm a Skid Row vet.
20 years.
20 years this year.
Congratulations and thank you.
For what?
For helping the poorest of the poor of our city.
I do what I can.
Which cannot be easy.
It has its challenges.
Like what? Name a challenge.
Mental health is a big thing.
Right.
It's a huge, huge issue, especially, you know, coming through as we're continuing to deal with the pandemic. One of the big issues for my program is funding.
Really?
Yeah, because we've been, and I God bless the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health for continuing to fund our program, because the things that we hear and see in our sessions really merit the fact that, you know, we need funding. You know, biomedical HIV prevention is not a panacea for everyone. We still need behavioral interventions to really speak to people on an individual basis. However, we struggle with the, you know, rents are going up, but, you know, we've been funded at the same rate for the last like 5-6 years. So as we're, you know, we have this one little pot and it's being spread more and more thin.
They're raising the rent in Skid Row?
Well, I'm just saying all across the city, and I'm talking really specifically about for employees.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
So it makes it difficult.
Right.
But, you know, there's the thing I like the most about Skid Row is that it really is truly a community. People know who people are. I had an incident, and I will never forget this. This was a few years ago. I was walking down the street because I used to have to walk a block from where I work. And so I'd be stomping down the street every day trying to hurry up and get to work because I was probably late. And somehow, some way, I was walking past this guy, and I think I tripped. And he said, "Don't worry, sis, I got you."
Oh.
And this man tied my shoes. He tied my shoes. And that was the most beautiful gesture to me. And every time I saw him after that, he said, "You okay today, sis?" And I'd be like, "I'm good. Thank you, man." And
So sweet.
My clients from years ago, I have people who haven't even been my clients. You know, they see me, they sing to me every day. I get serenaded every day. I come outside. Roxanne, I guarantee you, I get serenaded. So it's a community. That's one thing I really like about it. But yeah, it's a hard place. There's a lot of mental illness and posing. Putting on, like you said, people think that I'm from this hard place. I've been through these hard things. I haven't processed my trauma. So my way of coping with that is to be hard and angry and tough and rough instead of dialing it back and trying to talk it down. I'm going to, shake the table. And that can be difficult, when you're working through that.
Did you notice the population of Skid Row rise?
Yes.
When they started, quote unquote, cleaning the tents around the city, including Venice?
You've seen, so this is the funny thing that people don't realize. I wouldn't say it was necessarily in correlation to the street cleanings. People think, oh, everybody's just going to want to come to Skid Row. But a lot of people who are unhoused do not want to come to Skid Row because it is so chaotic. A lot of unhoused people really don't want to be seen. They really don't. They don't want to bother anybody. They want to just like kind of live and just be cool and, kind of disappear into the foliage. But they can't because they're outside. And so people think naturally you're just going to go to Skid Row because there's more resources down there. But the thing about it is that a lot of people don't necessarily want to come downtown because they don't want to get caught up in the foray of things.
So did you see an increase of people?
We've seen more people, and it hurts as a person who's worked down there. It makes you feel like you're not doing enough. That really does bother me because it sometimes feels like you're in a boat with a hole in it, and you've got the politicians on the shore who are like kind of waving, but you don't know if they're waving at you or waving you away or blowing the wind. You know what I mean? It's just like, and you've got clients in another boat and you're trying to pull the clients over with you, and you just end up trying to spoon, literally with a spoon, not an oar, the water out of the boat. So sometimes it feels very ineffective.
You don't have to answer this if it'll put your job in jeopardy or anything like that. But I heard that President Joe Biden, gave LA a whole bunch of money to put homeless people in hotels. And we gave it back. Have you heard this?
I didn't hear that, but one of the mistakes that we made in LA, I think, was with that Triple H money. Like was that
PPP?
No, not the PPP.
Triple H.
The H.
Okay.
The Triple H or Double H or whatever. That was one of those, and people voted on it because they thought, this was 6 years ago or something. People voted on it because they thought it was going to really help the housing situation. But it was written so poorly and it was very vague. And so my colleagues and I, we looked like, where did that money go? It was, for yet another tax. We tax ourselves and tax ourselves and tax ourselves. But then we look around, there's potholes the size of Kansas.
Sure are.
And we pass a tax, the last few years that was supposed to go to the potholes. And, people are literally falling through the damn street. It's like I said, you're in a boat and you're trying to spoon the water out. And then you've got the politicians on the shore like waving, but I think they're waving us back.
Right. And they love to talk about homelessness.
It's poverty porn. It's poverty porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They love to talk about homeless, but they love to fund the cops. And I feel like you got to pick one at some point.
Well, like this guy that I follow, he talks about how the LAPD has a budget of $8 million a day to burn through.
That's right.
And we cannot police ourselves out of mental illness. We cannot police ourselves out of homelessness. We cannot police ourselves out of raising rents. Somebody's got to get somebody else's hand out of the pocket at some point.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
These women that you help every day, are most of them just poor, or are they also homeless?
Both. Both.
So how do they get mail? How do they know, like how do you keep in contact with them other than face to face? Are you able to?
Oh, yes.
Do they have Obama phones and stuff?
A lot of people do have Obama phones. Some people do have phones. They get GR, so they pay for like their phones that way. But we work with a lot of facilities in and around LA. So while my head office where I am is in downtown. We also work in Metro LA with some shelters, substance abuse treatment facilities, things like that. So that's how we interface with a lot of our clients. A lot of our street homeless clients, we will go back to where we see them housed. So if they're housed on the corner of Fifth and whatever, we'll see them there. Like if they're on Fifth and Stanford, we'll go back to Fifth and Stanford.
So you're walking all around Skid Row.
So my team does a lot of that. Like I don't do a lot of the street outreach.
After 20 years, you don't have to do that anymore.
Mama's tired. Mama's tired. So I will though. I will hit the streets, but my team does a lot of our street outreach at this point.
Well, God bless them too.
Yes.
This may sound like a silly question to some people. Are there good places to eat in Skid Row? Do you have to pack your lunch every day?
There's some good places. I mean, the good thing, like kind of like where I live now and like Skid Row, these are communities, neighborhoods that are like, you're right on top of another one.
Yeah.
So there's Martha's. Martha's probably the best thing to eat in Skid Row right now. Martha's Kitchen.
Haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it's a little place. It's on 4th, and they have really good breakfast burritos, and then they have really good natural juices.
Really?
That's what I like from Martha's.
So we're walking closer to Little Tokyo. So it's on the edge of.
It's on the edge of Little Tokyo, and then so there's some really great places in Little Tokyo.
Yeah.
Of course, as you go up, on the more western edge, there's a restaurant called the Nickel Diner. Which,
I've been there.
Yeah, so I've become friends with the ladies that run the Nickel Diner. Their food is always really good.
Yep.
I like Wake and Late. I don't want to like Wake and Late as much as I like it, but they have like their breakfast burritos, as everyone says, are probably like the best in the city.
Really?
Yeah, it's on 6th and Main.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
Huh.
It's stupid.
Okay, so can we talk about Prince real quick? Because rarely do I see a record that I know on a record player when I come into a house.
Okay.
And it makes me feel great. Did you see Prince during his 21 night?
I did.
How was that?
It was amazing.
Up in Inglewood at the Forum.
I saw Prince at the Forum. I bought tickets, I think 2 or 3 times during that. I gave one to my mother. I gave one to a cousin. I sold it to a cousin. So we all got to see Prince during that time. And then I also saw him at Staples Center.
Oh, I was at that one too.
Yeah.
That was the one where he was on the chair, right? That swiveled around. And he just, even on a damn chair, he's the sexiest man, right? How does he do it?
God gave it to him. I remember when I was at the Forum for that show, I was on my feet the entire time. Mm-hmm. And which
is a long time. Those were like 3-hour shows.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, and I could have done it like for 3 more hours. It was just amazing. It was electrifying.
And did you get lucky? Did you get like the $25 tickets?
I did. Yes.
So, I mean, the whole thing was just kind of like mind-boggling because we get to see one of the greatest performers of all time for cheap for a very long time.
It was a gift. It really was a gift. I wish other performers were able to, extend that. You see all these concerts that are popping up now. Everybody's trying to recoup the money they lost during lockdowns and everything. So, it's kind of hard to pay for all of these shows, but
okay, let's wrap up with how people can get in touch with you if they want to.
If they want to get in touch with me, I'm on Twitter every day, probably a really obscene amount of time. I'm at JOBRL on Twitter.
Hold on. JOBRL, which stands for
Jackie O Black Roxanne.
Jackie O Black.
Yes.
Which is a tip of the hat to the former First Lady, Jackie O?
Yes.
Do you love Jackie O?
I have a place in my heart for the former first lady.
Where did it come from?
College. I just thought she was like the epitome of class, and I also kind of identified a little bit with, you know, the trajectory that she took. You know, she was brought up in this, you know, very kind of stodgy society, and then she married into this way of life that really boxed her in. And then after, you know, her husband was killed, she had to like really kind of figure out a whole new way of life. But she was always this beautiful fashion icon. So there was just something about her that like I kind of like dug. And I always liked her sunglasses. Like she always had really great sunglasses. And so I was in college and I found these old sunglasses at St. Vincent de Paul. And I was like, these are my Jackie O glasses. I'm Jackie O Black. Yeah. And then she was born. And then I started doing a lot of things as Jackie O Black, like modeling and just whatnot. So that's why some people do know me as Jackie O Black. So now
that was your model name?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
What was your favorite modeling gig?
I did an episode of Hell Date. It was a show that used to come on. It was like a reality dating show, like
like Third Wheel or something like that.
Like in that vein. Those early.
What channel?
I think it was on I think it came on 13.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
KCOP.
KCOP, which is no longer.
Yeah, what did that even turn into? Who even
Fox
knows?
bought it.
Oh, Fox.
Yeah, Fox took it over. But I was on Hell Date. I did a couple of magazines.
Which magazines?
It was called Wheels. So it was like a car, sexy girl magazine.
Were you in like a bikini?
I was the girl.
With like the
oh
straps
yeah,
up high?
yeah. I was the girl. Tawny Katan and all that. No, I'm just kidding.
What did the ladies of Louisiana think about this?
Oh, they don't know. They'll probably find out now, but.
Do you have photos that we can put in your blog post?
Yes, actually I do.
All right. What would they think? What would they think now? Would they be cool with it now?
Honestly, I'm at such a stage and age of adulthood that look, y'all was fast. You guys were fast. I got it honest. My mama was fast. My aunties were fast. My great grandmama was fast. They were fast. So I got it honest. So they can't really be that mad at me because it's in my blood.
How do you know this about your sweet relatives?
Because I hear stories. I've heard enough stories. They were fast. Mm-hmm.
Which kind of fits in with Louisiana, though, right? Just like LA.
Louisiana people are fast.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Right.
You got to grow up fast down there. And
it's a party.
It's a party.
It's a party even when you die down there.
It sure is. I told my mother just recently, I said, if you guys don't send me out with a second line, it's going to be a problem. She completely refuses because my mother is, she's very genteel and proper, and she does not agree. No, she does not agree.
Jehovah's don't.
Well, they do have funeral services,
but not like that.
Oh no, that's more. It's a cultural thing versus a religious thing, And so culturally, I identify with that. She doesn't identify with it culturally.
But see, I think that's what Black people have given to Christianity. We put soul into it. I love the church that I go to in Koreatown, but it's got no soul. And I miss. I mean. When people say Christian music is bad, I'm like, what kind of Christian music are you talking about? Not Mahalia Jackson. You're talking about Stryper. You're talking about, you know what I'm saying? I think that well, okay, obviously the Jehovah's are very conservative and proper, and we'll never change that.
No.
Will your mother go to a second line funeral?
Probably not.
Really?
No.
So were you raised this way? Were you raised in a strict household?
So my mother, she didn't get baptized until she was an adult. So
okay.
We lived with my great grandmother quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And so she went to Mount Moriah Baptist Church, which is on Figueroa near Vernon. My uncle still goes there. And then my grandmother on my father's side, she was a member at Crenshaw Christian Center and a few other churches. My grandfather on my father's side, he was a member of Mount Tabor Missionary Baptist Church. And so I grew up going to church with them, with my great grandmother, going to the Kingdom Hall. So I had a lot of religiosity. I had a lot of religion in my life.
And variety.
I had a lot of variety. And then when I went to college, I got to study Eastern religion for a class. So I went to Buddhist temple, and I went to, where else? We went to a few things for that class.
Who had the best music? It's not a trick question.
No, I'm just thinking. I mean, Baptist, but I don't know. But the funny thing is, like, so I didn't go enough to know the song. So like now when I'm like in places where like people start singing gospel music, I'm like, I don't know that song.
Right.
And it's really funny because like, it's like everybody knows the song. I don't know the song. I mean, I know the contemporary stuff that's on the radio, but like the traditional like hymns and things, I do not know this. Like I know a few of the old Jehovah's Witness songs, like from going every year. Like you go to the past, like for them, it's called the Memorial. So it's like the Passover. It's like the time of the year, like in spring, which I really love because it's like everybody's doing the same thing. So like Jehovah's Witnesses are doing the Memorial, Jews are doing the Passover, even Wiccans, they're doing their thing. It's like everybody's in agreement that this is a really special time of year.
Yes.
And so there were a few songs from the Memorial that I used to like. I kind of get geeked up, like I know this song. And it's interestingly enough, like even when I go for Shabbat to my boss's house, like there's a few songs that they sing for Shabbat that I really like. So I do like, there's certain religious music that I like. Baptists have it down, they really do. They give it.
Yeah. Well, you gave it to us today. Roxanne, do you like that song?
No, don't sing any of them to me. I've been hearing them all my life.
Oh, there's Roxanne too, right?
So there's UTFO Roxanne. There's Roxanne's Revenge.
Right.
There's Sting.
Okay.
And then there's a new one.
But the Roxanne Revenge, that happened when you were probably in college, right?
No.
High school?
I was in kindergarten. That was the 80s.
You're that young. I thought you were. Nobody can tell black people.
You're so hilarious.
Nobody can tell our ages. They can't. Have you seen Eddie Murphy recently?
He looks good.
He looks about 30 years old.
He looks about 45. But okay.
He's got more hair than I do.
And when you've got money, you can be as beautiful as you want for as long as you want.
Okay. So Roxanne and Roxanne's Revenge was before your time.
So I heard that as a kid growing up. So do
the kids sing that to you?
Every day.
Oh.
Yes, every day.
But she had her revenge, though.
I mean, it's all good, but when it's your name and people go, "Oh, your name is," it's like you're not the first person. Like you have to tell people you're not the first person. Trust me, I hear this all the time.
And the Police song is about a stripper, right?
It is. It's about a prostitute
or a hooker. I'm sorry. Yeah. So you probably don't want that song to you.
Every now and again, like I get into it because I like the song. Like
it's a great
song. Problematic lyrics, but okay.
Okay, so you love your name.
I do.
You love your nickname better, or as much. On Twitter, once again,
I'm JOBRL.
JOBRL.
And then on Instagram, I am Jackie O Black.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you for coming in and having this conversation. I enjoyed it.
And thanks for helping the people of Skid Row.
You're very welcome. If you're interested in coming down and checking us out, you're welcome.
I just may do that.
Okay, great.
All right. How great was Roxanne? You know who we'd fry up some catfish for and send them home with a plate? Our Patreons. When you stoke us, you're saying, Tony, Jordan, no one else is going to every single neighborhood in LA. You are now in our will. Thank you. So shout out to our Patreons, Nancy Rommelman, Sean Atlow, Matt Mills, Sean Wallace, Greg and Molly, Jamie Taylor, Mark Johnson, Kira Ann, Barney Grinke, Ben Welsh, Jen Adams, Trevor Wilson, Bree Wild, Dougie Gyro, Christina Up North, Robin Carey, Adam Shorn, Ben from Down Under, and Chris from the ATX. To be a Patreon, go to patreon.com/hereinla and give till it hurts. Also, shout out to our Angelinos. To be an Angelino, all you got to do is PayPal or Venmo, $25 or more, and we will list you on the Here in LA website or our Medium blog forever. Just send your hard-earned cash to busblog@gmail.com. Want to support us, but you have to take out a loan to pay your natural gas bill? Us too. No problem. You can still help. Post your favorite episode on your Facebook. You can start with this one. And if you want to go crazy, post two. Oh my God. Tweet something nice about us. Anytime you see me tweet about an episode, retweet it. And for God's sake, tell all your friends. Tell them how Here in LA is spelled, and it's on Apple Podcasts and Google and even Spotify. Here in LA is produced by myself, Tony Pierce, and a man who the Jays were named after, Jordan Katz. Editing, mixing, and music supervision by Jordan Katz. Songs by Orgone and Jordan Katz. Special thanks to Cindy for creating the logo, Jen for inspiring this, and the countless precious souls working at nonprofits helping out the poorest of the poor who strangely have to worry about funding, while the rich everywhere get richer. Thank you for all you do.